All right, so we have Speaker Mike Johnson coming out here and Netanyahu to deliver some remarks.
Good morning. Glad to see you all. We've been honored to host Prime Minister Netanyahu this week here on Capitol Hill to celebrate the remarkable progress over the past year and to renew, of course, our steadfast commitment to the U.S. Israeli partnership. The Prime Minister and I have developed a strong bond since I became Speaker. I consider him a close friend, and we've spoken often. The first piece of legislation I passed after taking the gavel was a resolution of reaffirming the U.S.'s commitment to the security of Israel. And that was a very important gesture on our part. And of course, I was happy to pass the security assistance funding when Israel needed it the most. He and I speak regularly. We were honored to host my friend, the Prime Minister, in July for his historic fourth joint address to Congress, which tied for the record of all time. And that showed the world that Israel is not alone, and they won't be so long as we are governing here. Today we discussed the special partnership that we have between these two countries, and I thank Prime Minister Netanyahu for his unrelenting commitment to making the region and the world a
Netanyahu speaks English more eloquently than most Americans. He really does. He really does.
safer place amid really extraordinary challenges. What Israel has done in the past 7 months really is a testament to what can be accomplished when we do not let the enemy set the rules. As Prime Minister Netanyahu said Tuesday at the White House, when our enemies see daylight between Israel and the United States, they will exploit it. And we all know that is true. And that's why strong, decisive leadership is so crucial in this time. President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu both understand that peace is secured through strength, not appeasement, and not by turning our backs on our allies. Before he even took office in January, President Trump and his team helped secure the ceasefire agreement and the return of American and Israeli hostages. This week, he announced a plan to exert maximum pressure on Iran and its proxies.
Democrats really hate how well this is going for them. I watch or I read on Reddit just how fuming they are about the whole Doge thing. Completely don't even talk about all of the mismanagement of money. It's just that somehow their privacy is being leaked, which maybe to a point, sure. But they're not talking about how all this money was funneled to the Democrats.
Terrorize the Israeli people and the world. This is what decisive leadership looks like. And with President Trump back in the White House and Republican control of Congress, America will not turn its back on our national security priorities.
After months of half-assed research, I still have no idea why Israel is so important. It's just a strategic location for the U.S. to have military authority, basically, and then especially in that region. It's just the location, I think. Not to mention that we've always had a strong tie to Israel.
Our support for Israel remains ironclad. We are truly grateful to Prime Minister Netanyahu for joining us today, and I'll turn it over to him for a few remarks.
Mr. Speaker and Mike, thank you. I have developed, as you say, a very warm personal bond with you. I think you're an extraordinary leader. You have the job of passing historic legislation in zero time. So we exchange a few tips on how to do that because we both know what coalitions are. But I have to say that I'm impressed with your leadership, with your initiative, and for me, most of all, your friendship to the State of Israel, the Jewish people, the Jewish state. The American-Israeli alliance has never been stronger. I'm now completing a week in which began with an extraordinary meeting with President Trump.
This guy is always buttering them up. And it seems like Trump and the speaker are falling for it. Something tells me he's trying to get a one-sided deal. He's trying to get a more favorable deal. But I guess we'll have to see how it unfolds.
Under his leadership, the critical decisions that show his commitment and the American people's commitment to Israel have come to the fore instantly. First, he renewed immediately the supply of weapons that had been stopped, which we need as we're fighting for our future, for our existence, and for the broader Middle East in a seven-front war. He immediately released those weapons. He issued yesterday these sanctions on this scandalous and corrupt organization, the ICC, that threatens the right of all democracies to defend themselves by themselves. And he's done so many things in the interim, just in 2 weeks. But I was...
Mind you, this is the guy that is behind the exploding pagers and cell phones.
Deeply moved by the reception that we got, the substantive things that we discussed, making sure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon, and also making sure that Hamas is destroyed. We're not going to have a future for Gaza or for future for peace in our part of the world if Hamas remains there. We agreed on many things, but I think it sets the tone for this great strengthening of the American-Israeli alliance. It's not only an alliance between governments, it's an alliance between peoples. This is the house of the people. And you, Mr. Speaker, represent the American people that overwhelmingly support the state of Israel. You know, I was driving through Washington. I look outside. There are people on the sidewalks. They see...
He knows he has to butter up Trump, but he just bullied Biden. It was weird, man. Like, he didn't even want to have a conversation with Biden. Like, they tried for so long. Every White House press briefing that we watched, they were saying that... Is that noise on your end or his? He didn't even flinch or look to see where it came from. Oh, no, that was in that room. Yeah, somebody closed the door. But, yeah, Biden never even got a meeting, it seemed like. They had casual conversations trying to negotiate a deal, but you could just tell it wasn't happening. They were holding out for the new administration to come in.
You know, limousines pass, and they all go like this. They all go like this. They all support. And I think, Mr. Speaker, that's the spirit that animates you and so many of your colleagues here. And I want to thank you again. And I want to say, you're invited to Israel this year in Jerusalem. I know you're busy, but find space to do that.
I can't wait.
You'll be welcome on a red carpet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take some questions, you cowards. I guess that's it. I guess they're not going to take any questions.